Corban's camp is no longer a gathering of outcasts, it is a rising tide. With every contract closed, his men grow sharper, his coffers fuller, and his influence undeniable. But as the sun rises on Corban's 26th year, his gaze shifts from the battlefield to the bloodline. To ensure the name Mitsuba outlives the blade, he seeks a wife to carry his legacy into a new generation. Yet beneath the surface, a darker storm gathers. A fractured Japan teeters on the brink of civil war, and beneath the earth, a cataclysmic tremor is brewing. But for a man with nothing left to lose, chaos is only an opportunity. And welcome back to our Irish Ronin series, where today we very much need to get Captain Corban here a wife. The good news is that we are starting to get up there in terms of gold. We should be able to afford to actually hire somebody from a tavern. So if we can find a suitable female who is willing to join our camp, we can then try and sway her and hopefully end up marrying her and continue the Mitsuba line. It's going to be very important that we can find someone today, and extra important that she doesn't die in the mountains like has become a bit of a trend for people who join our camp. But thanks to everybody as well who was speaking about actually customizing the route to make it safer. I was aware of that. I have done that before. We probably could do that a little bit more. It does mean that we'll probably end up spending a bit more in provisions as we move around, but also things like purchasing Pathfinder gear and visiting temples when we are ill, such as when we picked up pneumonia, to try and actually heal that. We are currently still right next to the capital here. I think I might do maybe just one or two of these Passage of Arms contracts initially. Here, we are perfectly fine. No crazy chance of danger. It's right next to us. We'll travel to accept this, and then we'll come back with our earned gold and see if we can find someone to recruit. Immediate dangers. Things you love to see. It's all right, though. It's just going to delay our journey. Nothing too crazy. That's perfectly fine. We'll focus on success chance here. Auto-invite everybody. And it's just a matter of waiting for the actual schemes at this point. Should not be a problem, though. A friendly clamour. It's tough to describe what's so appealingly intimate about the low buzz of a camp settling in for the evening. Maybe it's the clang of arms being hooked this way and that, the mixed screams and forced politeness from the barber's tent, or even the semi-distant braying of obstinate mules being stabled for the evening. For a second I thought that said being stabbed for the evening. I was like, sorry, what are we doing in our camp? All of this forms a quiet, comforting blanket of familiarity. This is my domain and these are my people. A small kingdom, but one where I know every sight, sound, and soul. I can retire to my tent and simply listen, 75 prestige. I could check on our stores, provisions all in order for 10 years, or perhaps a shave and a haircut for attraction opinion. Listen, we're trying to find a wife, a shave and a haircut 100%. Now, something else we could actually do is make a request interaction for either provisions, gold, or a men-at-arms regiment. Now, the men-at-arms regiment probably makes the most sense because we'll get men-at-arms that we couldn't even possibly try to hire ourselves because we're not the right culture. And obviously Mounted Samurai here have been incredible. We don't really get much choice over what we end up raising, but it still feels like it's going to be better than what we end up raising here. A big reason for that is outside of actually being able to use our army instead of just our skills for certain contracts, the other thing that I was considering is that if we actually look at the ruling regent of Japan here, obviously, as we looked at previously, we can try and procure an estate, essentially just become so rich, or at least famous, that the ruling regent would be willing to give us an estate. At that point, we still maybe wouldn't have land, but we'd have an official title at the very least. The other thing I was considering, though, is to ask him to sponsor an invasion. Secure the support of a ruler who will provide soldiers in exchange for your vassalage. And I am curious if this is something that we can do without being landed. For example, could we ask him to support us in invading one of these counties to the north? Because if we look at his current realm, the Empire of Japan here, show me the de jure. Yeah, there we go. So he's allied with this top one here, but then this sort of big island to the north, they are still free. So we could technically see if he would actually want to sponsor us to help bring some of these lands under his control. He may not accept that, we may not be able to, we may have to be landed already, but that is one reason why we may want to actually build up our total number of soldiers as well. Obviously, the main kicker is that it makes it much harder for us to move around, so the stronger we are, the harder it is for us to move. Out of curiosity as well, the ruling regent is 69 and in poor health. His primary heir is 79 and also in poor health, and his heir is 72 and in poor health. What the hell is going to happen when all of these guys die? We can't worry about that right now. We're going to keep working on our contract. I think for the time being, I might actually just request some provisions off of this man. I will make that request. Thank you very much. You will not accept currently based on personality, which is fine. But yeah, I mean, I think that the best thing to ask for is definitely men-at-arms, but we have to balance it out. No point having a really strong army and then everybody just starves to death because we can't move 2 counties anymore without being out of provisions. So obviously our main goal with whoever we actually hire next is going to be a woman that we can marry. Ideally, she has fantastic stats as well, because any scheme we do just has 2 empty slots, let alone them actually being decent or proficient at anything. Just having somebody here would be better than having nobody. The banquet tables extend far. My high throne gleams with rubies and sapphires. Guests from the 4 corners of the world celebrate my 20 years of blessed reign. Another cup of sweet ambrosia, glorious emperor, supreme archsteward Muniori asks, offering a splendid goblet. Dance for me, fool, I bellow at the disgraced and humbled Matoe. Such is the fate of those who cross me. I close my eyes for just a moment. Upon opening them again, I find myself in an all too familiar straw bed. I sigh, just a dream. Well, well, well. We could say I want to make my dream a reality and gain regal ambitions. Monthly lifestyle experience goes up along with stress gain. It was pleasant while it landed. We get envy for land, +2 diplomacy for 10 years, or I'm glad to be free from that life. Definitely not glad to be free of that life. I suppose I will make my dream a reality. We are ambitious and impatient. I will take the monthly lifestyle experience. Why not? Stress hasn't been that much of an issue for us thus far, but you know, that's largely due to the fact that we're trying to roleplay as much as possible and trying to play the character, but we may have to step on some toes as we actually try and claw our way to being landed. Oof, I find myself making such noises when sitting down at the campfire in the evening now. The elders always talk about how that happens when you get older, but I'm only 26. No, such is the wear and tear of a life lived rough. I can see the toll it takes on the others too. Chikanaga winces a bit as he slumps down next to me. The inn we passed has many spare beds, 15 gold rested and refreshed. My poor back demands more luxurious furnishings, and we upgrade the pavilion building for half the amount of gold it would normally cost. This is just an incredible offer. Like, if I'm not mistaken, upgrading the pavilion otherwise is 200 gold. Yeah, it is. We're saving 100 gold doing this. I think we have to do this. The offer is just too good. We're ambitious. It makes sense. Upgrade the pavilion. It's a lot of gold, but we're like saving a crazy amount doing that. It will set us back slightly in terms of finding a wife, but we do have these Passage of Arms contracts all around, which once we fly through these, we should then be in the area of being able to recruit someone again. 85%, we have our 5 advantages for the first contract. Let us seize the moment. Another success. Thank you very much. We will straight away head over to the next contract immediately. Scout for talent, of course, we will leave on. Now, this is dangerous because of coastal sea. We'll go for the Pathfinder gear here. It'll take it from sort of high danger to medium danger, and that works for me. Same again with the contract. We'll get this going as soon as possible. In terms of the Knight of the Tiger, after this, we'll actually only be 1 contract away from having ticked every box, except for the being exalted amongst men. That's going to be quite a bit more challenging, as we are not even halfway to illustrious, and our prestige is actually falling every month due to expenses to core positions. Something else that's important to consider with playing inside of Japan as well, though, is that typically as a landless adventurer, as we would start to rank up, we would then get like at least some tier 2 contracts from dukes over counts. The problem is, there isn't that many dukes within Japan. I think there's some up to the north here, but everybody else is basically a count, which is not something I considered too strongly in the beginning, but I'm now thinking it's going to be a bit difficult to get tier 2 contracts if we're relying on essentially 2 people in the entire empire. We have another wandering lifestyle perk. Do we want to pick up a journey here? Gain access to the monument expedition activity. Increase traveler trait experience when we visit a point of interest. I like the idea of that. The problem is, as we begin to move down, some of these bonuses aren't as interesting to me, if I'm being honest with you. What I would very much like is, whenever you move your camp, gain fame equal to 15 times your diplomacy skill once every 3 months. That is quite nice. Your fame increased by 10 for every holding you visit. Okay, I think we might actually have to go down Wayfarer here, because I really want to get our prestige up, our fame up, and that seems like the best way to do it, to be honest with you. Journey is nice, but I'm actually going to go for a well prepared. And honestly, decreased travel option cost, travel safety, and supply duration is fantastic anyway. Storyteller is fame from travel and hike events. We gain the ability to hike. And then further down here, particularly of the people, fame equal to 15 times diplomacy skill every 3 months. That's, I mean, for us, that's what? Wait, 15 times 9, is it? Okay, interesting. Yeah, but I feel like that's going to be our only real hope of trying to sort of really start doing well in Prestige. Especially seeing as though we're not going to be getting those level 2 contracts. I'm not even really sure if we would be getting them yet anyway, but all I do know is that whenever we would normally be getting them, it's going to be even rarer currently. We could also just completely swap out of the actual Wandering Tree and go into Diplomacy, and no name for just a flat 20% increase of the contract rewards is very nice as well. Can use make a request to start a feast with you as the honorary guest. To be honest, I probably need to actually have a deeper look across some of these perks because they're all different when you're landless. Okay, so having a look through, some of them are actually very interesting, like Strength and Diversity, +1 to our stats for every 3 unique faiths or followers we have in the camp is very nice. Faith conversion cost of -75%. If we do ever convert, that's basically a must-have. Some of the military ones will be critical. In particular, I think, should we ever actually want to have a standing army. And then Diplomacy, we may actually just rotate into once we pick up maybe like of the people and just go straight Diplomacy, depending on what we need at the time. But yeah, Wandering, I think, is good and there's lots we want there, but we should not just give up on those other perk trees either. We have some more fighting going on over here though. The Battle of Chiba. What is this? Issei, enforced administrative integration of Shimosa. What in the world is this, CB? All of Soryo Arizane's lands will be confiscated and returned to the Kanpaku. Your service to the Empire of Japan will be recognized. Wait a minute. Is his vassal going to war in order to give the lands that he then wins back to his liege? That is incredible. What? Oh, I see what's happened. It's because this man here is a Soryo. So this is the one where you are essentially seen as kind of a criminal, a local lord who have discarded or supplanted the reach of the central Soryo's government and rule provinces as their own fiefs. Okay, so he's tried to pull away, but still interesting that not the emperor himself, but essentially a vassal can go to war on behalf of the emperor to give it back to him. That is like very much fighting for honor. That must be insane if you can actually become the emperor though. Could you imagine if when I was doing my like Roman Empire take over the world run, if we simultaneously had vassals that were going to war for us just to give the land back to us? That would be crazy. Okay, our scheme is ready. Let's execute this with full confidence. Thank you very much, my friend. We will be in touch soon for a favor. Maybe very soon, considering you're 17 and poor health. On our way through Yamashiro, we appear to have stumbled into a local food market. Everywhere, peasants and nobles of every culture and tongue clamor around exotic food stalls, the air thick with fragrances I never had imagined. My nose is drawn to a lowly stall stacked with the dish I could only dream of. I am pulled out of my haze by the halting grasp of Muniori. Do not waste your palate on this slop, Captain. Bowls of zosui are for peasants. We have much finer foods at home. Muniori, my friend, we kind of are peasants. We're just well-armed peasants. But listen, I will believe him only because we were recently ill and we do not want to be ill again. Oh, a willing follower. Will you be decent? I come across a man while passing through Hyankyo. He is apprehensive and averts his eyes as I approach. Hark, are you lost, traveller? My name is Fujiwara Masayoki. I know these lands well. I herd my sheep through these beautiful wilderness every day, but my heart belongs to distant roads. To be a pathfinder, a guide, that is my dream. Let's have a look at you. 40 years old. Okay, wise man, hunter, brilliant strategist. Shy is non-ideal, patient and arbitrary, and an organizer. How much do you want? 75 gold? Or 800 provisions. Listen, I'll pay you in provisions. Come along, my friend. We need more people to finish off these schemes. 126 gold. Let's do the last passage of arms scheme over here, and then we will come back and find ourselves a wife. Look at this. No danger. Absolutely no things you'll love to see. Okay, we are getting started on this scheme. Hopefully our new follower will actually help us out in this quite a bit. I did want to also have a look at, now that our pavilion is level 2, what exactly we are getting from that. So I'm trying to see, I believe the medium boost to health is just the same from before. Although it's strange, because sometimes these menus say like inherited from previous levels, and other times they say something new. But no, here I just think it's mainly the increased 2 men at arms, and I think provisions capacity. And obviously we get an extra building slot we need to choose what to do with as well. A lot of these are going to be very focused on increasing the size of our men at arms. I mean, I do like the idea of the provisions capacity and finding more officers using Scout for talent. Don't like receive more transport contracts though. The mess tent, I mean, the chief cook is nice. Hostile scheme success chance is lowered. Gather provisions being substantially better is quite nice. And then prowess scheme phase length, courtier and guest opinion can't hurt. The roaring campfire is more knights. We already are lacking knights, to be honest with you. Proving grounds, men at arms, and then the camp perimeter is like travel safety, really, with the forward scouts option, and we can move a bit faster as well. So we'll need to see. We can also increase our actual supply tent for overall provisions. Then we have the more granular view of the actual upgrades to the individual buildings themselves, which become quite a bit more granular. I'm not going to look through all of these right now, but as we sort of get the gold to do it, we may look into this. Can torture prisoners. There we know we're talking, but we'll have to see. I'm also not exactly sure what the upgrades or kind of add-ons to these buildings could be like either. But for now, we're fine. We're holding on to our gold. Once this contract is finished, we will then be looking immediately for a wife. It is interesting, though, that at least as far as we're aware, or the first time I've noticed a sort of Soryo rise up, he has... Oh, no, he's winning. He's winning. I was about to say he was immediately put down, but that's not the case at all. I believe he's winning. Yes, he is. His army absolutely smoked the other armies that came to get him. So he, at least for now, may actually survive as a Soryo, which is incredibly interesting. However, if other vassals can also go to war with the same CB, he basically has to defend himself individually from everyone over and over and over, all on behalf of the Emperor. Assuming I'm understanding that correctly. I may not be, but this is why I like keeping an eye on it, because hopefully one day we'll be doing a decision like this, and I'd like to learn from this if possible. Yeah, he did. He won. He remains a Soryo vassal. Incredible. I can't wait to see what happens with you then, my friend. Let's actually pin you and see if you manage to stay alive through this. Only because we don't have a sway scheme going on, I will sway our new follower of Fujiwara here, just to see if we can move everybody in the camp over to supporter rather than complacent. Right now we're still steadfast, so we're getting those bonuses anyway, but may as well try to keep everybody fully locked in here while we can. What's really interesting as well about the Soryo piece is how he's still technically a vassal underneath the ruling regent of Japan here. I think it's just more the fact that as a Soryo, he's sort of officially come out in opposition and has the ability to actually install his own regent or formalize shogunate, which I can't even begin to see what those actually do. But interesting that he doesn't actually break away at all. They, like, internally, other vassals seemingly can go to war against him, like, no, get back in your box, you're supposed to be in service of the Emperor. But if you can survive, you can then try and get yourself in power, I suppose. I do wonder what type of options, if any, the actual ceremonial monarch has to possibly come back into power as well. Okay, we finished our final scheme. On the way home, we found another man willing to join us. Fujiwara Mikiyoshi here, who is a thrifty clerk, generous, sadistic, and brave, and 17. I mean, he's quite cheap to bring on board, and not great, but still likely better than nobody in certain scenarios. So you know what? We'll take him in. We'll only pay you in food and clothes. You can be the camp stooge. Okay, here we go. Visit the castle holding. Let's have a look at the tavern. And let's see who was up for recruitment. Oh, there's 2 women, 43, 26. This could work. So she's greedy, stubborn, patient, misguided warrior, hunter, and a pillager? And she wants 110 gold. Yamuchi Yoshiko here is interesting, but I do think 43 is simply too old. And then Toakira, decent stats, but nothing else too crazy. This is not really my first choice. Do we have time to shop around a little bit though? I'm afraid we'll say no here, go to 2 other counties, spend 1,000 provisions, go to other taverns, and there'll be no women in them. Like, it's not awful, but it's not great either. I think we're gonna bide our time instead. While we're here though, anyway, I will spend the prestige to get some hireling contracts. We will exit out of here. Are these just same as before? Hired muscle, hired muscle, hired muscle. Yes, it is. Okay. Let's then actually go to the capital just next door and see if there's anybody in that tavern. Oh my God, she followed us. It's the same. It's the same woman. That's wild. I wonder why that is. Ooh, look at you. Why couldn't we have found like a 26-year-old woman with this like inheritable traits? That would have been incredible. No. We're going to head back once again. Let's head over here since our contract is here anyway and try this one. Visit the castle holding. I swear if she's here again. Who's up for recruitment? Okay, no, it's different. Kimiko. So what we have in common is that we're both impatient. She's gregarious, cynical, but a fortune builder. She's Pundarika, so a Buddhist faith, and Yamoto. But she's not zealous, so she may not exactly force that on us. If we can get her to like us regardless, that should be fine. Her opinion of us is -10 because impatient is a sin, even though she's impatient. She's perfect. Welcome in, Kimiko. 16 stewardship is not bad either. Marazone, what are you holding, my friend? What is that thing? Is that some sort of instrument with the bells? He's going nuts in the tavern. Calm down. You're supposed to be shy. What's he doing? Okay, we are done here. First of all, immediately, where are you? That's weird. Why did more people swap over to being complacent here? That's weird. I swore like 2 seconds ago almost everybody was supporter. Whatever, that's fine. Kamiko, Sway. We will abandon Sway Masoki. That is perfectly fine. So we have pinned and we are swaying Kimiko here, who hopefully we can get to like us and turn into our wife. Since we're here, we may as well do this contract as well. I am going to start taking the option to actually see if we can finish these contracts a little bit quicker. But I believe this is actually the first time we've done a contract where every position is at the very least filled. Okay, this is actually much quicker. This, I think, is absolutely what we need to be doing in the future. Unfamiliar rations. The culture in Omi is unfamiliar to me, and some of their customs equally alien. This is proven especially true when Misoki, acting as our cook for the evening, beckons me over to look at the stewing pot. It's a local recipe, he begins, supposedly authentically Yamoto, I was assured by a passing merchant. What do you mean you were assured? Aren't you Yamoto? Why do you need to be assured it's authentic if you are Yamoto? I look at the substance with suspicion. Is that stewed vole with daikon radishes? I can say blend it with herbs from Irish cuisine, will gain 400 provisions, expanded culinary horizons, and every follower gains new taste for 10 years. Absolutely! It's our Irishness coming into play. Okay, this scheme here, I'm happy with 75%. Seize the moment. Success. Amazing. This, I think, is the cheat code, though. I think we are now sort of strong enough that we can really afford just to do the quickest actual way to get these contracts done, and that should actually help a lot. Because while we might not have tier 2 contracts, we're gonna have to just start banging out the level 1 ones over and over. Also, let's go for a gather provisions here as well. We'll go with the snares as always. 907 is not bad at all. 907 is not bad. Oh, we are flying through the contracts now. We are flying through the contracts. So for some of these lower tier contracts, many of them I suspect will start to be even more kind of carbon copies of each other. So I may not exactly show all of them, but I will of course show if there's anything unique that happens or for some reason we end up failing one of them. So if I start cutting in and we're in the middle of a contract, you can assume it's a standard military contract that we're doing. Otherwise, I will flag it. How is our sway scheme going here? I mean, she does like us pretty decently. Looking immaculate is helping a lot. We'll take that. She likes the fact that we recruited her. That's given us a plus 50. So the sooner we can work on this, the better. We do also have lots of requests to be made here. I do want to have a look and make sure that anybody who's in poor health we get something from. So you know what? Why don't you actually give me some provisions since you're actually quite old? You're only 53, so we'll wait a while. What we really want is a massive list of patrons here of people who are not about to die soon, so that should we end up in a war or we need something quickly, we can just put in a whole range of requests. What the hell is this? Yamato Earthquake. Whoa, 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 whoa. What the hell is this? A natural disaster is soon going to hit this area. Well, how do we know that? Earthquake severity level 3, current phase foreshock. Oh, I guess the foreshocks are how we know what's going to happen. Well, our camp is very much on the edge here, but interestingly, this is actually going to hit the capital. What the hell is this? Muchiyoshi's most recent foe slumps down, panting and defeated. Wrestling is a fairly popular sport amongst most mercenaries for obvious reasons, but Michiyoshi's pursues it like it's an art form. I sometimes wonder if you wouldn't prefer to fight barehanded, needing no other weapon. The man sees my pondering look and raises his fist in a polite yet mocking jest. Well, Corban, how about it? Absolutely brave words for an imminent loser. And we lose. Okay, fair enough. We gained 35 prestige and he gained 20 opinion of us because of respect. Fair enough. This is the stooge. Yeah, this is like the 17-year-old we brought in. So he went from having no stats to beating us in a wrestling match. That's not great for our image, but fair enough, no problem at all. We're the one holding the gold, that's all that matters. Oh my word. Okay, so the Earthquake's current phase is impact, and look at these counties. So the severe earthquake, building instruction time and holding instruction time goes up. The development growth minus 500%. Control goes down. Popular opinion goes down. Danger goes up. Plague resistance goes down. Oh my word. Can be removed via disaster relief great project, which I assume was going to be the final phase of this. Yeah, it is recovery. Okay. I don't know if we'll be involved or we'll have the option to be involved at all, but thankfully we put our camp right outside this area. Oh, Mantoku died. Was this the ceremonial monarch? I think it was. Were you killed in the earthquake? Yes, was consumed by the Earth's maw when the land itself split apart. So now the ceremonial monarch is his eldest son who's only 7. My word. Oh my god, look at the picture behind them. The ruling regent is near death as well. Sleep deprived, drunkard, stress level 2. I can imagine stress level 2 with this earthquake. We are on our way back, completed a nice few contracts there relatively quickly as well. We have our another perk. We're going to go for storytellers. We have the ability to go on hikes now at the very least. We can maybe even go on one of these straight away. What will it give us? Opinion, stress loss, and fame. And we may gain the wise man trait or trait experience for +1 learning. 50 gold is pretty expensive, but we have just unlocked it. Let's see what it is actually going to be like. Let's do it exactly where we are. I don't want to go into the area that's currently affected by an earthquake and just go hiking. Traveling companion, I would like to bring Masoki here to see if I get him to like us a bit more. So let's choose him and we'll focus on befriending him on this hike as well. Let's begin. We arrived at Omi, and for just a moment I'm taken in by the view as the hills stretch out like a sea of green and brown ahead of us. At last I can leave all those past struggles behind me and just focus on finding a moment to unwind. A chance to set everything aside and truly relax. Okay, so it's 2 months we end up on this hike for, which is actually a pretty long time, but fair enough. As we travel through the slopes around Omi, we come across what looks like a grave. It has a small stone with a name carved into it. There's nothing that might indicate why the grave exists out here, so far from civilization. Despite the remote location, a lot of effort has been put into making this area look nice. Considering the situation, I should, and we can offer prayers or dig for valuables. That's a great question as to what Corban would do here. I mean, strong sense of justice is one thing, but this is kind of more to do with what he thinks about digging up a grave. We would spend 100 piety, which has put us negative in relation to piety. But it's going to be very difficult to get our piety up anyway, because we have too few spouses, and it's hard enough to find one, let alone 3 more secondary ones. Listen, we're going to offer up some prayers. Thus far, Corban has just been a pretty decent guy, mainly driven by the fact that he is just It just doesn't feel right that he'd suddenly be digging up graves. We continue up the slope slowly, one step at a time. It's been a long day and I can feel my thighs burning. I'm only trying to focus on putting one foot in front of another at this point when one of my guards helps me the last few couple of steps. Suddenly we find ourselves on a ledge and I can see the valley stretching out below us, a tapestry of green and brown. I'd completely missed how far up we had come due to exhaustion and the strain of the journey, but now it was all worth it. What a sight for sore eyes and legs, and we gain 15 opinion of each other. Kimiko has been swayed as well, fantastic. That is the hike finished. 400 fame is not bad for going on a hike. Lost basically all of our stress and 100 piety. The earthquake is now in the recovery phase, which is interesting. Governorships in disaster area cheaper to revoke. I don't know if it exists, but it would be interesting if I was to move my camp in here, if there would be work for a kind of landless adventurer in the aftermath here, but I kind of doubt it. I feel like they might actually just be putting all of their gold into the recovery rather than paying people. Oh, what is this? I hurried to the town square as soon as I heard the news. Masoki was caught red-handed stealing from a market stall. Presiding from on high is none other than Kikuchi Kurioshi. Oh my word, the actual count himself is here, who glares at me with a look that could kill. Masoki, by contrast, seems much more pleased to see me from his predicament in the stockade. The penalty for theft and Omi is, explains Kurioshi, typically a severe lashing. However, I'm willing to waive this punishment if an appropriate fine can be paid. Well, Masoki, why would you be stealing? Okay, so I can say I'll pay the fine for Masoki. We'll grow close to forming a friendship with him, but it's 50 gold. I can say he must accept his punishment, but he'll lose opinion of us. We'll grow closer to forming a rivalry, and he will gain the trait wounded. I can beg for him to be let go. No, we're not going to beg. Or we can demand a trial by combat. 96% we are victorious in battle and Masoki is absolved. We grow close forming a friendship with him and Fujiwara gains 15 opinion of us. There is a 3% chance the fight is lost and we lose 150 prestige and he may gain maimed. We demand a trial by combat. Victorious in battle and Masoki is absolved. Incredible. Stop stealing though. What are you doing? I think I'm going to move the camp up a bit, slightly to the north here, to see if there's any contracts going up in this direction. We may even move even deeper north to see if we can hit up any more of the actual points of interest. We've hit the majority of these ones. I will customize my route here to see if we can go over here. Why is this so dangerous? Severe earthquake. Well, because there was just a severe earthquake recently? Okay, I'll risk it for one county. Let's add another one, see if we can go down here as well. And then all the way back. 573 provisions is fine. Let's do it. Okay, because we walked in, we're seeing the aftermath. Fleeing citizens crushed by falling buildings, debris blocking escape routes, fires and banditry. Only a few of the atrocities seen by the residents of Yamato preceding its recent earthquake. Relief efforts are in the works, but the damage incurred may very well linger in the region. We must rebuild. Oh, so for a second while I was in there, I seemed to be involved in the recovery effort. But if it's dangerous for us in there, I don't know if it's exactly where we would want to be, especially if there's not necessarily work there either. Incredible. We have visited the Hoshi Ryokan, an old traditional inn and family business. Phenomenal. Early evening is a time of intense activity for the camp. People and supplies tossed this way and that as our portable home is set down once more. Habitually, it's also when I take a walk to clear my head and escape the noise for a time. As I crest a small ridge, I see the last pinkish rays of the dying sun bathe the lesser peaks below, casting entire valleys into quick marching shadow whilst bathing the mountain tips in rosy light. A beautiful sight, perhaps even one worth sharing. We are going to linger and appreciate the solitude for the little things for Tellier. Minus 50% stress gain for 10 years. Absolutely. We do actually have somewhat of an altruistic contract available to us here to protect the innocent, which is not one I believe we've done before. Ironically, it's practically all the way back from where we just came, but still not that far. And it is actually protect the innocent inside of where the earthquake zone was, so possibly related. So Kimiko is now at 81 in terms of opinion with us. I think I will let one more scheme phase happen here with swaying her, and then we will likely switch to romance. What I'm particularly afraid of being in this area where, exodus after a natural disaster, minus 60% holding taxes. Oh my word. What I was gonna say was, oh my word, the ruling regent is dead. Who is the new ruling regent? It's a 66-year-old man who's also in poor health. So I feel like we are in a scenario now where the capital of Japan is impacted by an earthquake, and we're about to lose multiple regions back to back. It's likely going to fall to this man soon. 56-year-old. Interestingly, is from a different house. Are you part of the same block, though? The Sugawara block? No, you're not. You're a member of the Saga block. Okay, which does seem a bit more dominant here in terms of size, at least. We're so blind to the details, though. Once we're landed, we'll be a lot more deep in this. For now, we're kind of just trying to look over the wall and see what's happening, which makes sense, because that's exactly what Corban is doing as well. Oh my word, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I think we've accidentally... Oh my god, we can procure an estate. We've done a contract for this man already. We have done a contract for him before he was the regent. I didn't even know he was in line to be the regent. -4 off giving us an estate. Oh my word. How much? Send gift? 150 gold? That's a lot, but it's worth it for an estate. I'm going to send the gift and then procure estate. Oh, it's 1,000 gold. Oh, that was a waste. Oh, I wish I knew. I wish I knew. Oh, that is annoying. That is very, very annoying. And then I could make the request to arrange a marriage, but that's not going to mean much when he dies, is it? Because then we're going to have a different family and a different block in control. Oh, what a waste of 100 gold. I mean, it's not a crazy amount of gold, but man, that's frustrating. What an opportunity. What an opportunity. Because we are probably in the future going to be trying to figure out how we can make... I didn't even think about how we would be able to make the Emperor actually be our patron, and then we just did it accidentally. Kimiko was not swayed. We did pick up a dog. Okay, since you weren't swayed, let us actually... Let's stop our sway scheme here and let us instead go for a romance. Predicted to be very easy, so let's go with my gut in the moment. She won't resist my charms for long. I also sort of feel like, should we at least see if I do arrange a marriage? Yeah, no, like, I mean, it's not something, he won't even consider it with anybody, which is, that's fine. That's totally fine. Hope you enjoyed the gold, my friend, for absolutely no reason. Oh, we just 1,000 gold, 1,000 gold. Okay. We need to lock back in here for a second. That is unfortunate, and it would have been very nice to have it there. But at least now we know what our goal is: have 1,000 gold in the bank to be able to procure an estate, and then try and figure out who is in line to become the actual ruling regent, and try and make him our actual patron. Okay. The plans are coming together. The plans are coming together. I do wish we were illustrious so I could also check to see what ask for invasion sponsorship would look like. But thus far, that's okay. Thus far, that is okay. I'm happy with that. Well, I'm not happy with that, but it's better than nothing. We learned a lot. Seize the moment. We have successfully protected the innocent in the pretty sort of stricken lands we're in since the earthquake, but that's perfectly fine. Let's head back to camp. Just out of curiosity as well, Kimiko, your religion, are you cool with, polygamous? Fantastic, that's all I needed to know. Just in case the opportunity arises later on to get a second wife, it could be of interest to us, primarily for just actually maybe alliances, sort of hooks as well could be an option. I don't know exactly what we'd use it for, but just good to know that she won't necessarily hate us for having other wives, which is great. Oh boy, what is this? Sweet Lady Kimiko, I say as I kneel before her. My only desire is to bring you honor and happiness. Pray tell me, how can I prove my love for you? Kimiko hesitates and her cheeks turn red. By God, I hope she's pleased and not embarrassed. Slay a wolf and bring me its pelt. Then may we continue this conversation. We can bribe a hunter 15 gold and we will gain special gift, or 64% chance I do it myself. Let's do it ourselves. We're empty-handed. God damn it. I'm going to ask for some provisions off of our aging patrons as well. The rest, though, we will keep in the green. Looking very good on provisions now. I bid you good morning, Corban. It seems the most beautiful woman has been lost in the woods, and my courtiers will not stop lamenting until I bring her back. A fair woman, to the rescue. Kimiko may lower her standards of us having to kill a wolf to be able to talk to her if we successfully manage to rescue this so-called beautiful woman. Morozone and Fujiwara Masoki are starting to get along together, which is fantastic to see. I feel like Morozone, when he originally joined, was having so much problems in the camp, particularly with Ebo, who were later kicked out, but right now everybody seems relatively happy, which is great to see. The earthquake event actually resolved itself fairly quickly, to be honest. That's actually quite good to see. Sheltered from the storm. Though deprived of their homes in a recent disaster, the people here have been provided with temporary accommodations. It would seem like perhaps the Emperor, as well as others, were able to successfully do the recovery effort. He's at minus 52 gold, so you know, I'm going to say that we were involved in the recovery effort by giving him that gold. It wasn't a bribe. We weren't doing it just to try and get an estate. We were simply doing it because we wanted to help the people. Something else, though, that is curious here is that he wouldn't currently accept this. Oh, mainly because he needs gold. Okay, otherwise he would if we had the 1,000 gold and 2,000 prestige. Okay. When Kimiko suggested a hunt, I did not hesitate to organize one. I would do anything for a mere glimpse of my honeycomb. I am stalking through the underbrush, my page at my heel and my hound just ahead. It seems as if we have found a trail. Then suddenly my concentration is shattered by a woman's scream. You know what? I have a really bad feeling that this is going to be a success. We're going to fall in love, and then the contract will finish, and it's going to be some woman who has like 4 inheritable traits and is unbelievable and the perfect bride. Okay, here we go. I'm coming for you, my love. Within what must have been a minute but felt like an hour, I reach a clearing. Kimiko was on the ground before me, disheveled and weaponless. Opposite her, just about to strike, stands a huge wolf. My arrow strikes true and the beast falls to the ground. For a moment, all Kimiko can do is stare, but then she stumbles towards me and throws herself into my arms. Well, we got the wolf eventually. I need you, my love, right here, right now, and she will become our soulmate. Let's arrange the marriage straight away, send the proposal, and love prevails. Simple as that, because we're landless, no grand ceremonies, it's simply done. Okay, amazing, amazing. We actually managed to find a wife. And we have successfully rescued the fair subject, Yoshiko here, who is beautiful, flamboyant trickster, honest and content and gluttonous, but is 35 years of age. I could attempt to have her follow my camp. This is kind of a 50-50, to be honest. She could just feel insulted. We'll give it a go. We do not have to part ways. She feels insulted. Okay, well, that's fine. She's rescued, that's the main thing. Very glad that our other romance scheme worked off. Arazane died. This was the guy who was in charge of the Sorio over here. Yeah, I was curious if this would remain a Sorio. Nope. Well, am I looking at the right place? Yeah, it would appear as though that when he died, it just went back to a normal Ritsurio. Interesting. Okay, so obviously when you become or change from Ritsurio to, what's the other one called again? From a Ritsurio to just a Sorio, that obviously doesn't carry over in death. You're going to have to make the most of that in one life. Good to know. I mean, maybe it does carry over and something different happened in terms of the inheritance, but that's what is going on. What is going on? Why is there so much people at war? War to install Kikuchi Toro as regent. We have 5,570 attackers versus 6,196 defenders who are supposedly quite superior. My word. Would anybody like to hire us? Would you? Oh yeah, offer military assistance. Oh, now we are talking. I hate to do it because it's all kicking off, but I'm going to have to leave this episode here. We will start the next episode at the onset of this, see if we can get involved in this war and what the outcome of it will be. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget to like and subscribe. A massive shout out to all of our channel members on the council, Corvio, Lord Hammercy, Harambe Son, and Comrade Doggo. If you would like to support the channel, click that join button down below, and I will see you all in the next video.